Hello, my name is Daisy Fuentes, and I will be doing an interview on Hurricane Celia. Okay, can you please state your name?
Arturo Hernandez Jr.
And how old were you when the hurricane hit?
About 7 years old.
7 years old. Okay. What was your first reaction when you heard that the hurricane was coming your way?
Excited.
Excited?
What happened was that I think I remember we were at our grandmother's house because she lives right here in Petronila, which is not that far away from here.
Mm-hmm.
Petronila is what, about maybe 15 miles from Corpus.
Mm-hmm.
So it's halfway between Corpus and Driscoll. So we were at my grandmother's house, and really nobody was stressed out over it. We were playing outside. I mean, it was just a regular day, and when my dad came and he told my mom. I just remember that, like everybody was saying that there was a hurricane coming.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was kind of nonchalant, I mean.
Okay.
So anyway, so we were at my grandmother's house, and everybody was playing around. I mean, you couldn't really tell that anything was coming that I remember. But I remember my dad telling my mom, "Hey, we got to go because there's supposed to be a hurricane coming this way."
Mm-hmm.
So that's when we got in the car and we went back to Corpus.
Where were you when the hurricane hit? Did you feel prepared when the hurricane hit Corpus Christi?
No, because I was 7 years old, so I was just watching I mean, for us, it was just like we didn't know what was going on, and we were just watching my dad,
Mm-hmm.
go into the garage and quickly start boarding up. And I mean, I couldn't help him. Okay, I guess I could, but we were just there. I mean, and then all of a sudden, it started getting more. The clouds started kind of coming in, and it started getting dark, and then the rain started. My dad was trying to hurry up and board up the windows,
Mm-hmm.
and and do what he could to secure the stuff on the yard, and we were just kind of freaking out, like just checking him out. But I mean, I was 7 years old, so I couldn't. I didn't know if it was a hurricane, so
Mm-hmm.
no, we were really scared. We were just kind of like, wow.
Was your daily life affected by the hurricane? How long did it take for modern life to return back to normal?
I say it was affected because, I mean, not so much. I mean, it was affected for probably the first couple of months because
Mm-hmm.
people. I know that where you all live, the house next door, which used to be the Vasquez,
Mm-hmm.
that house was blown away. The roof was blown away. So when during the hurricane, Gracie, Bobby, Beatrice, everybody ran to our house.
Mm-hmm.
And when it came to our house, the side that's facing y'all's house, that there was a tree there, and the tree got knocked down, and it fell against the house, so it knocked down, it broke the windows and part of the wall to the bedroom, the back bedroom, that where my father used to be. That's right next to y'all's house.
Mm-hmm.
It broke part of the wall and the windows, and so my parents, their parents, I mean the Vasquez,
Mm-hmm.
and my parents were holding. They got the mattresses, and they put them up against the windows, and they put what they could up against the mattresses and tied things down, so that way to try to keep the debris and the water from coming in. But it was people were affected because there was no. I mean, there was a lot of destruction, and then I know that we couldn't go. You can just get in your car and drive around
Mm-hmm.
because there was debris and trees and everything, fences, all over the streets. So there was no school. I don't remember how long school was out, but you couldn't just get in. It wasn't a daily routine because there was debris everywhere, so people couldn't just drive around.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was no ice. So it was the HEBs, of course, they went through the hurricane too. So
Mm-hmm.
you couldn't go to the grocery store and just buy anything. And then there were some places that were gouging. The milk, the bread, they were gouging prices. So there was complaints about that, and the only thing that helped us, the Morales used to live across the street from where we used to live,
Mm-hmm.
or you all, right? He used to work for a petroleum company. So a few days after the hurricane, he drove up with a gasoline truck, and this is unheard of because back then, well, even now, you can't drive gasoline trucks into
Mm-hmm.
residential neighborhoods. Well, he did. Okay, I mean, back then there was no.
Regulation.
There was rules or laws, they didn't really enforce them, at least not at that time. So he drove up with a gasoline truck to the neighborhood right there in front of the house, and he gassed up all the people's cars. you know. So there was no gasoline. Gasoline lines were long. So I do remember that. Gasoline, you know, it was for a while there was kind of tight because everything was disrupted. So, but I remember that my parents, you know, the gasoline was an issue. The groceries for a while was an issue, you know, getting because we tried to stack up. I'm sure, you know, we didn't really have a chance to stack up. And like I say, I mean, I think it caught my dad off kind of off guard, but yeah, for a while it wasn't things. It took about a few months before things got back to normal.
And how did the homes and buildings look after the hurricane struck?
Your house wasn't there. Well, not your house, the one you live in now, but the one that was there before. You got a brick house now. That brick house came after that. The other one was torn down. So that house is gone. I mean, the roof was completely torn off. Like I said, I mean, there were just the walls left. And then the one next, Josie, the Benavides that are the opposite side, their house was destroyed too, because that's when they built that Jim Walter home that they're in now. So both are survived. I mean, but for the most part, I mean, I'd say about half and half. You know, I'd say about half the houses there in the street, you know, neighborhood were damaged. Yeah, major damage. So yeah, the buildings, HEB. There used to be an HEB right there on Baldwin and Morgan. I think it's a nightclub now. That HEB was just, you know,
destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I remember going by there. I mean, it was a mess. So I mean, everything. I mean, like I say, it was pretty phenomenal. I mean, pretty. Hopefully, we haven't had another one like that, but hopefully we won't have another one like that soon, anytime soon.
What kind of support did you or someone you know receive from an organization? And can you name an organization and the support obtained?
If I'm not mistaken, my dad was always the type that didn't really like to go into all that red tape.
Oh, okay.
But I know that after that they came. I'm not sure if FEMA was the one that came in, or if FEMA existed back then. But they did offer support. In fact, that's how your house, I think, got built. The one y'all live in now, I think, is part of that program for rebuilding homes. But my dad didn't go through any support that I know of. I mean, he just, you know, little by little, they fixed the house back up. But ours, like I say, was just that back bedroom and part of the roof that got, you know, damaged. But he did it on his own. He didn't get support from other agencies, but there were agencies. Now, my sister and Janie can probably tell you more about this. They came out with the Small Business Administration, SBA. I think the SBA still exists today, but she went to work as a teenager. She was still in high school or right after high school. She went to work for the SBA, Small Business Administration, because the SBA was the ones that were helping homeowners with loans to build their homes, low interest loans. So that's how the SBA, I think, started. I think it started because of Hurricane Celia. And then I think after that it kind of transitioned into businesses. And then Janie, they cut those funds off. You know, they started kind of leveling off as people started fixing their homes. So Janie went and worked at, you know, my sister went to the federal government, worked for the federal government at the base, CCAT, because, you know, things kind of just wind down with the SBA. But yeah, the SBA was there to help businesses and homeowners.
How did Hurricane Celia affect you emotionally?
The one I was married to, mostly it didn't. I mean, it didn't affect me because I was 7 years old, and I remember near the end of the hurricane, I was like, we were just checking out the scenery. You know, we were looking at the front. We could open the front door at some point and see the trees. You know, branches breaking off, and we could see stuff flying down the street, and you know, see where the neighbors' cars, because they moved some vehicles. That's another thing. We had put the dogs. We had I think 2 dogs at the time. We put the dogs in my dad's. He had a VW Volkswagen bus. Well, we put the dogs in the bus. So when the hurricane hit, that bus wasn't there in front of the house anymore. It was down the street. So the dogs were in there. So I mean, cars were, you know, moved around, property was moved around, but that Volkswagen bus that my dad had wasn't there anymore. So, but we were just checking everything out. I mean, I wasn't scared. You know, we weren't scared. We had candles. going at that time. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's dangerous. Now you think you got flashlights. You had flashlights back then, but back then people. In fact, we used a lot of the kerosene. We still have kerosene.
Kerosene lamp.
These lamps right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but just you think back, like, but we had them. We used them,
Mm-hmm.
and we used the ones that we used for camping, the kerosene lamps. I mean, you just think back, and you don't use them inside a house, right? But I think at that time we didn't have any, much choice. I mean, you just went with what you found,
Mm-hmm.
what you had. So I remember we didn't use so much the camping kerosene lamps, but we used these old ones, these old kerosene lamps that you used to put in, people used to use in homes
Mm-hmm.
back in the day. So we used a lot of those, but no, I mean for us it was just checking things as things changed. So we're just entertained with watching things go down the street. So.
And finally, did Hurricane Celia change your outlook or perspective on hurricanes?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean it did because I've been through it but I mean now we haven't had one like that in 45 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for a while there, every time we were under threat of one, I would board up, and that just to at the end, I would hear that it turned around, and it wasn't coming this way, or we didn't get
Mm-hmm.
much at all. So, I mean, for a while there, I was very leery, and I was quick to board up. But now, as the years gone by, and it's a lot of work boarding up, and
Mm-hmm.
especially when I had two houses at a time to board up, so it gets old, it gets tiring. So now I've gotten to where I kind of wait till last minute because,
Mm-hmm.
but I shouldn't be doing that. But for a while there, like I say, it just made me anxious. And whenever there's, I would hear a hurricane's gonna come, I would go ahead and just board up. But a lot of times it's for nothing because it would just turn around or it was just minimal.
Mm-hmm.
But you should take it seriously. I mean, I've been through it, so once you've been through one, kind of, to take it seriously.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.